Hi, good afternoon. So, this is our sixth live on Wisdom Week, and today I am interviewing Dr. Tania King. So, basically, give you a bit of background. Tanya is in the Rent to SA game, and I'm literally going to add her in right now, and then you guys can hear everything that she's going to say because she is pretty epic. Give me 2 seconds, and she should be joining in any second as it just buffers in. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
How you
Am
doing?
I sideways or am I in the right?
Yeah, no, you're sideways.
Oh, that's not good. Right, okay.
There we
There we
go.
go.
I see you.
Awesome.
How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, good, thank you, Hannah. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Lockdown is it's getting a little bit tedious now, isn't it?
Oh, I know. It's not great. I'm not loving being cooped up inside, but at the same time, I'm kind of finding there's enough for me to be getting on with. I'm definitely
Yeah.
not bored.
Yeah.
Everyone who's like bored in the house in the house bored. I'm not bored because I have like a shit ton of things to be doing at the moment. Like I've never been so busy, I don't think.
I know. I like literally the back garden is now completely been done. It's been painted. We laid like new lawn. I don't think there's anything more that we can do with the back garden. So we've kind of reached that point now. What do we do with the inside of the house?
Yeah. We're doing the same thing. Like as we speak, my husband's outside building a new deck. So yeah,
That's brilliant. Right, let's jump into this.
cool.
So, my first question, really nice and simple. Can you tell us all a little bit about who you are, how you got into property?
Okay, so I'm Tanya. Obviously, I am a medical doctor, so I'm a radiologist, so I work in hospital. But I'm actually on maternity leave at the moment because I've had a baby 6 months ago, so our second daughter.
Congratulations.
And thank you, which is pretty amazing. It's just a shame that we're kind of in lockdown in her first year and in my maternity leave, but it is what it is. And I got into property 2 or 3 years ago. Initially, it wasn't actually service accommodation that we got into. So we do buy, refurbish, refinance. We've got a building
Wow.
company as well. So we have our own investment properties. But then in 2018, at the back end of 2018, I
Yeah.
decided that I wanted to generate a fast cash flowing income from a business to replace my medical salary and my medical
Okay.
income because we want to emigrate abroad. So I
Wow.
needed cash flow coming in where I could leave my job comfortably. And that's why I got into Rent to SA.
Wow. Okay. Quickly going back, if I can ask you a couple of questions in terms of like investments before Rent to SA. So,
Yeah.
so do you have your own like property portfolio of like buy, refurbish, finance properties, or is it
Yeah.
mixed or?
Yeah, so we've got a few of our own. So I'm just trying to find out where I can actually lean my phone because I didn't realise I couldn't go sideways because my little phone holder only does sideways. So yeah, we've got a few of our own investments which we bought, we've refurbished and refinanced because my husband's a builder and a carpenter. So
Wow.
we've
Okay.
got that resource, which is really cool.
Brilliant, really cool. Quick
Mm.
question: did you ever
Yeah.
think about doing Rent to SA in any of your own actual properties?
Do you mean Rent to SA or is it doing SA with my own
SA, sorry,
properties?
like SA in your own properties. So, like a lot of people have been talking to me recently. I know I'm going off subject, but I'm quite interested to hear what you think about this.
Yeah.
A lot of people told me. Obviously, I got into Rent to SA first, but I've been talking to a lot of people at the moment, and they're also of the opinions like, why don't you just buy your own properties and then use them for SA? Because you're paying half the price in your mortgage as to what your rent would be.
Yeah.
Have you considered that for like your own properties, or are they not
Yes.
locations, or?
Yeah, so I do that. So I've got a great example. One of the properties that I own is an absolutely tiny, tiny little flat, and we have our expenses are a few £100s a month,
Wow.
and that tiny little flat is about 24 square meters. It's
Yeah.
tiny. It's a studio flat, but in some months it brings in revenue of £2,000-3,000 a month.
Jesus.
Um, which
Which is a
so
lot.
yeah, so it's definitely worth considering. The only things that you have to consider if you want to do buy to SA are that the mortgage process is more complex.
Right. Okay.
You do have to sometimes prove that you have a viable SA or furnished holiday let as it's classed
Yeah.
actually in mortgage terms, business model, and that you've been running, you've got experience as a viable property to run as service accommodation as
Yeah.
well. And you may have to put down more of a larger deposit than a
Yeah.
normal buy-to-let property as well. So it may be more than 25%.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Sorry to go off topic.
That's okay.
Second question for you. You kind of probably answered it, to be fair, in your first thing. Why did you choose service accommodation and why did it appeal to you? So, like, for me, I very much like you, I wanted quick cash flow, and
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of guests and designing something and taking like a rental property with the way that it kind of looked and like making it look really nice. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That part of the business. I didn't enjoy other parts. It obviously you said about quick cash flow. Are there any other reasons why you got into rent service accommodation? What appealed to you?
Yeah, so obviously quick cash flow, so you can cash flow literally immediately, but also the low capital investment, so you don't really need much money to actually get into a rent to SA deal. So in some cases we've actually negotiated a deal where we've had 3 months rent free, where we're doing a nice little refurb on their property. And we've negotiated out the deposit as well. So all you have to actually pay for is actually furnishing and setting up the property. Then you've got 3 months where during that time you can actually do a little bit of a refurb, but then you've got time hopefully to actually start generating income from guests actually coming in during that rent-free period. So low capital investment is a massive thing for me, because I didn't want to be waiting to kind of generate a massive deposit pot to then buy a property to do something like this with, and I wanted to be turning around a deal quickly to actually start to generate cash flow quickly. So I've got a quick example. Our latest project we took on, our penultimate project as an example, we put live in late December, just before Christmas. So we've got no deposit on that, 3 months rent free. We just painted and decorated the whole property throughout, put a new vinyl flooring in the kitchen. 3 months rent free, no deposit. It went live end of December, and between December and March it turned over £8,000.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a really good example of it being very little money down, really, if you think about it. So those are the two main reasons that I got into it. So low capital investment, and it can cash flow immediately, but you have to know what you're doing really to actually be able to do that.
I'll go on to that subject with you, because that's a really important thing for me, because a lot of people literally talk to me and say, you know, I can make my money back in a month, and I can literally put hardly any money down and I can make this much money per month and things like that. And I don't think probably a lot of people that teach this type of strategy probably say about the realities, and maybe potentially don't teach it as well as they should do, because you're totally right. Systems in place, you can 100% knock it out of the park, but if you don't put it in, you can lose a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah, so I actually mentor in rent to SA and service accommodation, and I am always as transparent as I possibly can be with anyone that wants to work with me, because at the end of the day, if they succeed, that's my success as well.
Awesome.
But I'm very much of the kind of what's the word, the mindset that you have to literally tell all the negatives, all the pros and all the cons about a particular venture, particularly if you are someone that people look up to in that particular field as a specialist or as an expert. I don't call myself an expert, I'm just doing my thing and I've got a lot of experience now. You have to be completely honest and transparent with the pros and the cons of any business, and how easy it is to start generating cash flow. But if you're working with someone who knows what they're doing, for example, all my mentees, they work with me and I'm there with them every step of the way to support them and help them. So in that kind of scenario, like for example, at the moment with coronavirus, lockdown has had a huge issue on everyone operating service accommodation, everyone, as we've been speaking about earlier. And I've had a lot of people contact me asking me, you know, DMing me, Tania, do you think that I should take this new deal? I've got this new deal and it's great, and in normal circumstances it would cash flow really well. And I've had to say, look, I'm completely honest with you. If you are a complete newbie, then I would absolutely not suggest that you go down this road. If you have someone that you're working with who's experienced, who knows what they're doing, and you have enough funds to cover the costs for the next 2-3 months, then I would say it's a possibility that you could consider it, but definitely not if you're a newbie. Like, it absolutely uncategorically, you shouldn't be getting into this business right now at this time. It can be very stressful.
As well, I guess especially if you're managing or wanting to manage your own unit, because that's kind of like SA suicide in a little bit of a way, because it's pretty mental at the moment. So my third question to you is, I know obviously juggle between being a doctor, having 2 young children,
Yeah.
and setting up an SA business, which is pretty mental, by the way. How have you systemized your SA business? How are you able to do this?
Okay, so I decided that I wanted to learn every part of the business, so from the ground up, so all the ins and outs of how to run the business, including cleaning, inventories, guest communication, bookings, everything like that.
Yeah.
And then I was able, once I knew all of the business and how it runs operationally, I was then able to automate it. So I basically looked at it as categorizing all the major aspects, all the key elements of running a service accommodation business. So you've got your guest communication, your guest security checks, your housekeeping communication and operations, pricing, revenue management, all of that. So I grouped them into big categories, and then I just targeted them one at a time. So I was then able to kind of automate everything that I could automate, but then systemize everything that couldn't be technically automated via a computer or software system.
Yeah.
So, and I've outsourced as well. So I have a VA and I have a 24/7 call answering service as well for any guests that call out of our working hours. We pay all day PA for that, and they have detailed information on every property that we have for all the common FAQs that that guests ask. But there are obviously going to be loads more that we haven't covered, because you can never guarantee what guests are going to ask. It's a nightmare. So with guest communication, we have a channel manager. We use Guesty, which I would absolutely recommend. And they have loads of amazing automation features, which is one of the reasons why I chose them. So we pretty much have automated all of our guest communication through Guesty, which is amazing. That includes a timeline of emails and SMSs that all of our guests get sent. They're all automated, and they cover all of the information that a guest would want to know about check-in, about the address, about how to operate the key safe, how to get the keys, where to leave the keys at the end, and all of that. Obviously for guest communication, we've got our VA who does all of the other guest communication if the guests don't feel they have all the information they need, and we've got all day PA as well. In terms of guest security checks and getting their guest emails for direct email marketing, which is a massive part of your marketing in a hospitality business, we use something called FormSite, which is amazing. It's a form that you can create yourself. The guest gets sent a link to that as part of our automated messaging. They automatically fill it out, upload their ID, their bank card, which they've used to pay for their booking from. So that's all automated. And then their email can be pulled from there into our MailChimp account, which can then be our email marketing, used for email marketing for future booking leads. So that's those two. Then we've got the pricing and revenue management, which we use a software called Price Labs for, which a lot of people have heard about Price Labs. So you have to know, obviously you have to know what you're doing. You have to know your market and your pricing for your area, because you have to set the boundaries for your pricing. So once you've done that, then Price Labs automatically alters and amends your pricing according to occupancy and according to demand as well in your area. So that's really important, and I would highly suggest anyone that doesn't use a revenue management software to use something like Price Labs, and it's very, very cost effective as well. And in terms of increasing your revenue, Price Labs will actually allow you to input different choices into the way that you set your pricing and your availability, that if you have a few orphan nights, you can fill those orphan nights, and it just does that automatically for you, so you can actually increase your revenues using something like this. So it's really important. You can maximize your occupancy using Price Labs. In terms of calendar management, it's absolutely vital that you avoid any double bookings when you run SA, because you can get penalized by the major OTAs.
That's a headache, isn't it? It's like, no.
Luckily, it's never happened to me.
Never had it.
No.
I'll quickly interject. I was with Avivo when I first started, and it was a nightmare. I know that they've adapted their systems a lot now, but my first experience with them, I had like 6 or 7 double bookings straight away, and it was like, because I obviously live in Wales and my units are in Cambridge. It's not like a sense that I can just go and meet the guests or something like that. It was like, type of moment.
Oh no, what a nightmare. Luckily that's not happened to me, and you have to be really careful because you do get penalised by Airbnb and Booking.com, which are the two big players OTAs wise. You can lose your Airbnb superhost status, and if you have to cancel a booking on booking.com and the guest has to relocate, you're potentially liable to pay their fee as well for their new property. So it's an absolute nightmare. So for avoiding double bookings in our calendar management, we use our channel manager, which is the major job of any channel manager, is to manage your calendar to avoid double bookings. For our pricing as well, once we've had the pricing automatically updated from Price Labs every day, it's then updated into Guesty, and then Guesty every day pushes it out to all the OTAs that it's linked to. So all of the pricing is automated as well. So that saves you so much time. Instead of having to go into each OTA and change your pricing according to that, you can then leave it up to Price Labs and Guesty to do that all for you. So that's really powerful, and it saves a huge amount of time.
I was going to say, every time you update your pricing, and it updates on like Airbnb and things like that, obviously with their algorithms, doesn't it, you're showing them that you're constantly adapting your listing and things. I heard that when you're doing with like Airbnb particularly, it shows them you're an active user and it pushes your listing up naturally.
So Airbnb particularly like it if you are a proactive host, and booking.com as well. And actually some of the channel managers that are out there, including Guesty, which is what I use, automatically update your pricing every day, so it looks like you are going in there and proactively changing and interacting with your listings to show that you're a proactive host. But that's all done for you. So again, using Guesty and Price Labs, all of that is done. So again, that's one job that you don't have to spend your time doing. So it's again a hands-off job that's getting done for you. Then a major part of running an SA business is obviously your housekeeping and your cleaning, and all of that is automated through Guesty, through my channel manager.
Wow.
And if we have any issues, then they go through a WhatsApp group. We have a cleaning WhatsApp group, and my VA then attends to them with regards to issues, with regards to charging from deposits that we take. So we take deposits from every guest for damage or for any lack of adherence to our terms and conditions. That's all automated or outsourced. So again, I don't spend my time doing any of that. Obviously, you need to have a power team to be able to outsource and delegate jobs, leverage other people's time. So that's your maintenance guys, your housekeeping team. As I've said, I have a VA. For task and team management, we use Asana, and you can actually get a free account with Asana. Which is like life-changing, because you can literally have all of your projects, all of your tasks on there. You can follow them up on a timeline, so that's really useful for us for keeping tabs and on progress of different projects and jobs that need to be done. So I guess the apps and software and the channel manager that I would recommend, I use Guesty, so I would definitely recommend using Guesty. We use Asana, we use All Day PA, Price Labs, and FormSite. Those are the kind of software things that I would recommend using as part of the systemation and automation and systemization. Obviously, if you're going to outsource to human people, then you actually then need to sit down and spend some time actually writing down your processes and systems for it then to be followed by a second source somewhere else, like another person. So my VA's in the Philippines, so I've written a lot of our processes and things, which is an absolute pain in the arse. But once you've done the hard work in the beginning, you can then leverage that work that you've done and just add to it and amend to it and you know, adapt it according to time.
I literally the piece of information that you've just given there are unbelievable for anybody that is watching, and then for whoever who's not watching now, it goes out on YouTube, because the apps and things that you've talked about is you can't get the type of information usually online really without speaking to an expert or paying for a course. So what you've actually said there is like gold dust. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Good.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
That's okay.
Not a lot of people would share that information, Tania.
I've been told by a lot of people, including a lot of the mentees that I have, that I give too much information away for free, and maybe I should look at that, but that's just who I am. So
no, I personally really appreciate it, and I know these guys will appreciate it, because I think the cool thing is you've given them information that's actually going to save them money.
And time.
And that's really cool. So I wish you were around when I first started. So my question number 4 is really simple. I've seen you a lot on social media. That's actually how I connected with you, because I like the videos that you do. Like I said, you're very honest, you're very upfront about everything. How has social media and having a social media presence helped you and your business, and in what way? Like, has it got you guests, or has it got you more investors? How has it helped you?
Oh my goodness. Like you say, if it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't be doing this right now. There was no way that we would be
Yeah,
connected right
yeah,
now. So it's awesome. Like, the power of social media is massive. So it's had a huge impact on my service accommodation business, my property investing business, and also my education side, so mentoring and service accommodation as well.
yeah,
It's hugely important because it gives you visibility, which gives you credibility. So if you are persistent and you are active on a daily basis, or close to that, people start to get to know you, and you know, you can tell if someone's genuine or not if you're following them over a certain period of time.
yeah,
And you then start to build like a like, know and trust kind of feel between you and them. They
100.
start to think, you know, that they know you. And so you get a lot of people that you meet who are like, oh my goodness, this is really weird that I'm meeting you in person for the first time because I feel like I know you, which is
Yeah,
amazing. So yeah, I mean, we get lots of leads through our Facebook page on social media for bookings and things like that.
okay,
But also in terms of me putting myself out there for the mentoring and education side that I offer
yeah,
and masterminds, I've pretty much generated, all of my mentees have come organically to me just through following my social media posts.
yeah, which
So it's absolutely massive, and there are so many things that you can do to kind of generate direct bookings through Facebook and through other social media platforms like Instagram if you use it
yeah,
properly. So I would definitely suggest using like either lead magnets or coupon vouchers, or running challenges through your social media, not
yeah,
challenges, sorry, competitions and giveaway competitions through your social media pages, to then build up your mailing list, which could then potentially
yeah,
convert into leads and bookings as well. So it's absolutely huge.
yeah. No,
Yeah, so I know you're going to ask me about my tips for social media.
I literally quickly put something in there. Do you use Google at all? And Google Business?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm not really au fait with the intricacies of how it works.
Yeah,
I have a few. I have a few things that I'm working on with regards to Google My Business pages, but we do have them. Yeah.
yeah. So it literally something that I've genuinely just started looking into for our sourcing business a bit more over the last sort of like month or so. Something
Yeah.
that I didn't look into at all. So we were mainly like Facebook, but now we're seeing different things like LinkedIn and Instagram, and you're totally right. Social media, and if you can harness it, has such a powerful effect, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I will quickly ask, do you have any tips or anything like that that you could think of?
Yeah, so definitely with social media, consistency is absolutely key, but also quality.
Yeah,
Some people say consistency over quality, but I don't agree with that. I think you have to give quality, you have to give value, whatever it is that you want to give to people and to
yeah,
get back from them. You have to give value and quality, and you have to give it without expecting to get anything in return.
yeah,
I think that's really important. Um, if you want to build a following who want to book your properties, for example, then you have to start to build a community,
yeah,
and you have to be true to yourself, and that you have to be comfortable with who you are, to be true to yourself, be genuine, be consistent, because whatever things that you want to sell in the future, they should all be based on who you are and the service that you provide, rather than making them bespoke to the people who are
yeah,
following you. So you want the tribe to come to you rather than you to go to the tribe, if you see what I mean.
yeah,
I'm going off on a
totally.
tangent here a bit. So those are kind of my tips, really. Be consistent to develop a like, know and trust kind of feel between
Of
you
course.
and your clients or your potential guests. Give massive value, be genuine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my tips really for social
No, that's
media.
absolutely brilliant. So my fifth question to you is, I guess your particular like business. Obviously, I know that COVID has a massive effect on the service accommodation industry.
Mm-hmm.
How have you adapted? Obviously, I know that hospitality industry in general has been massively affected. How
Mm-hmm.
have you coped? How have you adapted? And what do you foresee coming in the next sort of let's say 6 months? Because I don't think this is going to probably change over the next month or so.
No, okay. So adaptation is probably the key word there. And everything has had to change, like literally everything. We've had to think and market very differently. So It's a completely different guest market that we have, as you know, at the moment.
Yeah.
All the platforms are different. We're on completely different platforms that we were before. Our pricing strategy is completely different. So that's all needed changing. So with regards to the market that's different, the type of guests that we can host are key workers, critical workers, people who need emergency accommodation, or people who can't return to their primary residence for whatever reason, like if it's a building site or something, or they're displaced from another country. So those are the types of people that you can host. These people aren't going to be looking to spend loads of money per night in an SA unit. So you're going to have to compromise. So we've had to change our expectations as well from how it should have been previously, thinking, you know, from March onwards is a really hot time for SA. We've had to change that mentality to think, actually, no, it's not going to be now. We need to change things so that we survive this rather than absolutely thrive through it and generate lots of revenue and lots of profit, because it's not going to happen. So we've had to think differently about our different guests that we're hosting, which has meant advertising on different platforms, making new connections, so contacting hospitals, pharmacies, GPs for key workers, care homes for key workers, and we've had to price differently. So we're trying to attract longer term bookings rather than 1, 2, 3 nights here, because now we have to leave a certain number of days in between guests checking out to checking in, between checkout and cleaners coming in. So you want longer bookings rather than the shorter bookings as well. And there's ways, for example, if you use Price Labs, that you can actually do that to affect the discount that you can give, for example, or to affect the minimum night stays that you are advertising for. So we've been looking a lot at driving direct bookings, which means that you have to have a great website to attract people. I'm not a massive techie, so I can't really talk. This is not like my area of expertise, but you need to have a good enough website where you can take bookings through there to drive direct bookings, but also you use things like social media ads, like Facebook ads, which we're using at the moment, Google My Business page as well. And then there are other different platforms that we've been implementing, like Open Rent, for example. And Open Rent's got a great little paid plan or package, which if you pay £29 to market one property for 3 months, they will market it on Rightmove, Zoopla, Open Rent, Gumtree, and for 3 months for £29 in total,
which is nothing.
So whilst you won't be getting the revenue, you won't be generating anywhere near the revenue that you should normally be at this time of year, you can at least cover your costs doing that and advertising on those platforms. Now, where was I? So we've also been working on the existing connections that we have. So speaking to guests that have previously booked with us who have booked for their colleagues who are key workers, for example, maintaining those good relationships, but also staying in contact with the guests that you're currently hosting is huge, because a lot of our guests have had to want to extend their bookings, which is great because then they're direct bookings, you know. So those are kind of the things that we've been implementing and the ways that we've been adapting to the current climate at the moment with regards to COVID-19. I don't think I've missed anything there.
No, I think I've been really thorough. The one thing I was going to say to you is, where were we? You've done adaptation, you've done coping. I guess the thing from what you're saying is basically you've been way more proactive in terms of less relying upon Airbnb and Booker.com, because you just close their calendars. Basically you've created your own OTA, essentially. You're going out there getting direct bookings, which is really, really hard at the moment, but in the coming months you're not going to have to rely on Airbnb or Booking.com. Thank God.
They're not my favourite people at the moment, I have to be honest.
I literally have so I don't have that many rent to SA units myself personally. I have more like business partners and things. We're quite lucky in terms of some of our stuff is already on long-term bookings. But some of the stuff that's come out of Airbnb and Booking.com and things, I just think it upsets me, because I think that the hosts like you and me and everyone else, we're the foundation of their business, and it's kind of literally just been like, go and fend for yourself, but then come back to it at the end of it.
Exactly. I mean, they call us their partners, but they're not really treating us as partners.
No.
Exactly. You've cracked it, saying that they rely on us. Their business model relies on us to provide the accommodation to give their guests. So, you know, but hopefully, you know, we're all going to come out of this. If we survive all of this, we're all going to come out of this a lot stronger, more resilient, and more able to take our own direct bookings and drive our own direct bookings. So that's going to be major.
No, I totally agree with you. The last point I was going to say is, what do you foresee happening with the SA market in sort of like the next, let's say, 5 to 6 months? Because I think you hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, our calendars tend to start going up, and pricing goes up from March onwards, really, and then we hit summer period, which is every SA provider's favourite time period. What do you foresee happening in the coming months?
So I expect that within the next 2 months, I think the lockdown, what's the word? The degree of lockdown that we're going to be in isn't going to be as strict as it is now. There's no way that the economy will be able to last that long, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
And so that's one thing in terms of what's going to happen with coronavirus. People are going to be able to move more freely. More jobs are going to be able to start reopening again. More sites are going to be able to start opening. The construction site economy, the construction sites a lot of them have been closed, which means that they're going to have to open at some point soon. They're not going to be able to remain closed forever. So within the next few months, they're going to start opening. They're going to have a huge mass influx of contractors that are going to need somewhere to stay. So that's one thing that's going to massively affect us positively. People are going to be less inclined to travel internationally for holidays, for breaks, for getaways, which means that if you are an SA operator in less suburban areas, so more sort of countryside, touristic, touristy kind of markets, people are going to be coming to you for their getaways, for their holidays, for their summer breaks, for a weekend break. So putting that all into context, I think that within the next few months, the market is gonna get much better than it is now, to be honest. And I think it's actually going to be positive for people who are in SA at the moment. If you can muddle through, then hold on, because there are bookings, there are inquiries, and there are leads coming in, and everyone's really pulling together to actually help each other a lot more than ever before, which is one of the best things to come out of this. Hold on, because I think that the market is going to boom within the next few months, just for those reasons that I've just mentioned. So I think it will be positive.
Totally.
Do you agree?
Yeah, totally agree with you, and that's exactly what I've been basically telling like our investors. So we've still been selling SA units during this time, but we've been moving back start dates by a couple of months. So when they come into it, so they're obviously not coming into it now, they're coming into it in a couple of months' time. For the pure reason of I think exactly the same thing as you. I think that there's a lot of people that are handing back units at the moment, and I understand that, and I understand that I don't really want to be implicated with this. I just want to wash my hands of that. I get that, but I think that for the people that do hang on, obviously, one, there's going to be less competition because people are handing back units, but also two, I agree with you. I think there's going to be a boom because people are going to need accommodation again, but also people aren't going to go abroad.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
100% agree with you there.
Sadly.
Final question, and then I'll literally let you get off to whatever you're doing because I know you're very busy.
Sure.
Your top 3 tips for getting great reviews from guests, and how can you improve guest satisfaction? What, like, if you were telling me 3 things to get great tips on my reviews, what would they be?
Okay, so number 1 would be make sure that your guest has the best guest experience, customer experience possible. So from kind of, you have to work towards their expectations and go above and beyond their expectations. So from before they actually check in, during their stay, to after their stay, I would say communication is absolutely key. So make sure that everything is clearly communicated, automated, of course, because I wouldn't want people to be wasting their time just doing this manually, which is what I was doing at the beginning of my SA business, to be honest. Make sure that your communication is absolutely key, because if you're providing all the information that all guests need before they ask for it, that's amazing. And they're going to be like, oh, that was really helpful. I've got that. Or I've got all the check-in details and I didn't have to ask for it. I've got the guest manual and I didn't have to ask for it. So I think that's really vital. So point 1 would be ensure they have the best experience possible. So make sure that the property is clean. Make sure that it's up to their expectations. Make sure that you put little nice things in there that they didn't expect, like little treats or little shampoo or we put like breakfast cereals and stuff in there, and make sure they have all of their kind of cooking essentials like olive oil, salt, pepper, things, little milk pots, things like that. Yeah, exactly. Little touches that they weren't expecting. Number two would be great guest communication, as I've just said. So make sure that everything's clearly communicated prior to their check-in,
Yeah,
during their stay, after. And basically with the communication, you need to make sure that you are going above and beyond. So ask them, is there anything that we can do within the 24 hours of their check-in? Get in touch with them, either if it's by message or email, or personally, I think that's most effective is actually calling them directly and asking, is there anything that you can do? Is everything to your satisfaction?
yeah,
Also, one key thing that we ask in all of our automated messages within 24 hours of check-in is, we hope that you're enjoying your stay. If there's anything that doesn't make your stay a 10 out of 10 for any reason, then please let us know immediately, and we would want to attend to this immediately. So that's one good thing. And then the point three would be just undersell and over deliver. So again, that's just focusing on the little touches, the unexpected things that you can put into a property, you know, to kind of surpass their expectations. Really, it's simple. It's all really simple stuff and really easily implementable. So yeah.
But it goes a massive way. So I tend to like stay in SA units if I go anywhere, because I like to compare and see what other people are doing. It sounds stupid, but I like to pick up on little things.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You're saying there, like the cereal, it's a big thing to somebody, because you know, if you're going to stay in an SA, sometimes you might not have time to go and get breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
And it means a lot. I want to say thank you very much for joining me today. This has been awesome. I'm going to put this out on YouTube as well, and it's going to go across all of our different channels so people can watch this. Obviously, some people that are working and things. But personally, I want to say thank you very much to you, because I actually watch your videos all the time. You are somebody that I go to for sort of advice and things on Rent to SA. So
amazing.
Yeah, you are. You're brilliant. And so anybody that's literally interested in Rent to SA and learning a bit more, then you have to connect with this lady. She's all over social media and on Facebook. She's got a number of videos. And I'll put her details in the comments and things. So if you need to contact her, then go for it. But you've been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for asking me to be here. It's been a pleasure for me too.
No, you're welcome. And I'll let you get back to sorting the house out and the kids.
Oh, really? Do you have to?
No problem. Thank you very much, Tania.
Cool. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.